Welcome everyone to my channel. If you've been here before, well, you know the drill. If you haven't, sit down, pull up a seat. I say it backwards every time. I don't know why. I keep saying it backwards, but anyways, pull up a seat, sit down. We're going to talk about Holes by Louis Sunshine. I have been a terrible person, and I have not updated at all, and I am about fucking done the book, okay? But this one was an easy read. So fucking easy. I mean, like, it was just easy, okay? So, Holes, if you haven't seen the movie, okay, Stanley Yelnats is under a curse. A curse that began with his no good, dirty, rotten, pig-stealing great-great-grandfather and has since followed generations of Yelnatses. Now Stanley has been unjustly sent to a boys' detention center, Camp Green Lake, where the boys build character by spending all day, every day, digging holes exactly 5 feet wide and 5 feet deep. There is no lake at Camp Green Lake, but there are an awful lot of holes. It doesn't take long for Stanley to realize that Camp Green Lake isn't what it seems. What could be buried under a dried up lake? It's up to Stanley to dig up the truth. Okay, so Stanley is shoved there. You know, it first describes Camp Green Lake and what it is nowadays, and then it sits there and says, why would anybody want to go there? Well, Stanley Yelnats was given a choice. You may go to jail, or you may go to Camp Green Lake. He goes to Camp Green Lake. And, you learn what happened is that Stanley is walking down the street, shoes fall on his head. There's some famous sportsman dude called Clyde Livingston in this, and they're his shoes. They were supposed to be sold at an auction to help homeless people. So, he gets sentenced, and that's what he gets. Of course, it's all because of his no good, dirty, rotten, pig-stealing great-great-grandfather, which you do learn. You do learn about him, okay? In here. Alright? So, when Stanley gets to Camp Green Lake, he meets Mr. Sir and Mr. Pendensky. Now, Mr. Sir tells him that he has to get tells him all the stuff he has to do. So, he shovels. Okay? He learns about a few things, and he shovels some more. You know, it's a bunch of stuff. If you haven't seen the movie, please go watch the fucking movie. It's a really good movie, okay? I'm gonna go read that. I'm gonna go watch that after I finish reading this, which I'm going to finish tonight. So, we'll get to that. Basically, when he gets there, it's no fun. He hates everything about it. He thinks everything's going to die. His hands are blistering. He's sweating a lot. And then he finds a tube of lipstick, which he didn't know it's a tube of lipstick with KB on it. And beforehand, he had found something that he thought was important, but then he's like, no, not that. So he found something else. But X-Ray was like, you know, I haven't had a day off since I've been here. I want it. I want that day off. So he finds it, he gives it to X-Ray. X-Ray says, here you go, I found this. The warden comes out. The boys get all the water up. They all start digging holes. X-Ray gets to go home. So, they dig up holes together for a while until they realize that there's nothing in that area, and then the warden backs off. Okay. Then that's when Stanley learns about her venomous rattlesnake venom nail polish. Okay, so forgot who it was. Magnet steals Mr. Sir's sunflower seeds, and when they go to toss some to Stanley for him to eat, they fall into his hole. So the truck comes back, he tries to bury it up, and then he gets dragged along to the thing, and of course Mr. Sir believes he's lying, that he's covering up, which is obviously the truth, but he's still covering up because I stole it. The warden puts on this venomous nail polish, saying that, you know, when it's dry, it's not deadly, but when it's wet, it is. And then smacks Mr. Sir across the face with 3 freaking fingers, okay? And, the guy goes down. She's like, unfortunately for you, he'll live. Now, get back out there and dig me a hole. So, yeah. So, Zero, who is, at this camp, his name is Hector Zeroni, he can't read, so he asks Stanley to help him learn how to read. He says, I'll dig your hole every day, help you dig your hole every day, if you teach me how to read. So they struck up a deal. And that's what they do for a little while, Until, of course, X-Ray and them get mad and jealous and get him in trouble to where he can't do it. Because of Zigzag. So, yeah, there's that. Not a lot of stuff really happens in the beginning besides setting up the whole plot, but digging holes and telling you all about things. So at one point, if I could freaking find it, because I forgot his great-great-grandfather's name. But it is said in here. Who is Elia? Elia Yelnats. Okay, that's his name. Okay, and he married someone else. So he fell in love with a woman named Myra Menke. And he was talking to Madame Marzaroni about it. And she was like, you got your whole life ahead of you. Her head is empty as a flower pot. And he's like, I still want to be with her. And she's like, okay, you take this baby pig and you bring him up to this mountain. There is a stream where the water runs uphill. You must carry the piglet every day to the top of the mountain and let it drink from the stream. As it drinks, you are to sing to it. Then she tells him the song. On Myra's 15th birthday, you should carry the pig up the mountain for the last time. Then take it directly to Myra's father. It'll be farther than any of it. So that's what he does. He takes it up there. Of course, she says, I want you to carry me up the mountain. I want you to drink from the stream. I want you to sing the song to me. If you have failed, you and your descendants will be doomed for eternity. It's a curse. Ooh, this curse. Of course, he doesn't carry it up the hill, up to the mountain one last time before he gives it to her. And they're both the same way. And he's like, well, let's let my daughter choose. And then she's like, I don't know who to choose. I don't know. So he just walks off. And then he gets on a boat and goes to America. Because he's just so disappointed in her I don't really care thing. I will marry this 50-year-old man compared to this young, strapping 15-year-old. Like, yeah, dumb. Okay? So that sets it up for Kissing Kate Barlow. Kissing Kate Barlow is what was the initials KB on the tube lipstick. Her name was Catherine Barlow. And she was a teacher at a schoolhouse that taught young children and adults everything they needed to know. So there was a guy there named Walker. I forget his name. But his nickname is Trout. Yeah, Trout. It's not his real name, but Trout, yes, okay. So, his name was Trout. And Trout was like, I want you to come out on this boat with me. And she's like, no, thank you. But the dude named Sam, who goes and gets onions across the lake and comes back every day with Mary Lou, his donkey, starts fixing up the schoolhouse because it's in disrepair. And so she's always finding excuses for him to be there and talk and everything like that. And the two actually fall in love. So they kiss, and another person finds out, and of course the chief sits there and goes, it's against the law for a black person, I'm not going to say the word that's in the book, because back then don't know if it was right for him to put it in there, but anyways, for a black person to kiss a white person, but it ain't illegal for a white person to kiss a black person, so we're going to hang him. She goes to warn him, and he gets in the boat. She gets in with him. They leave Mary Lou on the shore, and they go off over across the lake. But Trout has this motorized vehicle, which he uses to go out in the lake and, kill Sam. So he kills Sam on the Mary Lou boat and takes Catherine back to shore. Catherine kills the chief the next day and then leaves. And then she's kissing Kate Barlow for a very long time, 20 years. When she finally comes back, she buries the treasure she took from Stanley Yelnats's ancestor, great-grandfather, Stanley Yelnats, first one of the Stanley Yelnatses, okay? Because he's Stanley Yelnats the fourth. Alright, so, and she buries it in the dried up bed lake, a green lake. Now, while she's there, she gets assaulted by Linda Miller and Trout Walker, who will know where the loot is. So they bring her out to the desert, and they're like, give us the loot, tell us where it is. And then a lizard, a yellow-eyed lizard or a red-eyed lizard, it's a lizard that's deadly and poisonous, okay, comes out and bites her. She said, you better start digging. Well, she said, start digging. And then she died, laughing. Because fuck, man. That's some shit, okay? That's some fucking shit. Zero, at this point, has ran away from camp thanks to Zigzag and them. He's got the shovel with him, but no water. He actually finds the boat in this mixture shit that Sam made. Was eating it, okay, to survive. That's how long he survived. So, Stanley's gotten tired of everything eventually after like 4 days of him being gone, and he decides to steal the car to go find, steal the truck, the water truck, to go find Zero and then to rescue him, and drive off with him. But of course he doesn't know how to drive, and he drives it into a hole. And then he gets out and he runs off. He does walk towards the God's thumb, which is just this big mountain that looks like a thumb, until he actually finds Zero underneath the boat. And he's not well. He's not at all. He sees the stuff that Zero calls sploosh. It's just nasty skunk stuff. So Zero, well, not Zero, but Stanley had found an empty bag of sunflower seeds. They put empty bottles of the sploosh that Zero had found, and they started walking towards God's thumb. Where I'm currently up at it, they have actually found God's thumb. Zero is recovering from his sploosh because it was killing him, and it was gross, and it was nasty. And he had actually, when they first got there, he found an onion, he ate it, he drank water, he gave water to Zero, and he sang the fucking song that Madame Zeroni had told his great-great-grandfather to sing to her. He did it to his descendant. So, Madame Zeroni's descendant, Hector Zeroni, was carried up the mountain with the song being said, the water being fed to him. Yelnats, Ella Yelnats' descendant. So, curse is fucking broken. Curse is fucking broken. While he's gone, a lady comes up to release him from it because some shit went on, and they found out that, hey, he wasn't supposed to be, it was not him, basically. It wasn't his fault. Stanley, of course, learned while they were out that Hector had found the shoes at the homeless shelter, had grabbed them, put them on, and walked away because they fit his feet perfectly. And he wanted shoes on his feet because he was homeless, looking for his mother. So, when he heard about the big deal about what it is and everything about the shoes, he put them on top of a parked car, and that's how come they landed on Stanley's head. And he's like, it's all my fault. If I hadn't done that, none of this would have happened. If I had just kept the shoes, the used shoes, none of this would have happened. I wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be here. Because he got caught trying to steal brand new shoes from a store. So, there's that. But Stanley was like, I'm glad it happened. Because I got to meet you. And I got to lose weight. I got to be better about myself. Self-reflection. So, Stanley did get something out of this. He really did. Okay. So, on their way back, because it probably takes them like a couple of, so they're like there. Okay. They're at the God's thumb, just hanging out. What they don't know is that there's a lady appears, drives up, and she wants Stanley released because things. I don't really know. I didn't read that part. That part didn't happen. Okay. So far. I know it happens in the movies. But, so, yeah. Things are happening back at the camp. We're going to finish reading this, and then we're going to come back, because I'm just going to finish reading it, okay? For you guys. Alright. Finished the book. I should have tagged out where I was. I was somewhere. I don't remember where I was. So, they decide to go back to dig one more hole, because Stanley thinks he knows where to find the treasure. Of course, he also wants to find the treasure so they can escape and run away and be, like, out there in the world, away from the camp. So they go back to the camp. While they're on their way, Zero talks about his mother and basically what happened to him. He remembered he was very little. He remembered he was in a crib. He remembered the room was yellow. He remembers him leaving the home. He remembers his mother telling him to sit still, to stay, and she'd come back. And then one day she left him at a park, and she never came back. And he waited over a month there for her to come back. So basically, you know, you would think abandoned, but not really. Not really abandoned. Okay? So, they make it back. They get to the hole. They start digging. Well, Stanley starts digging. Zero goes to fill up some water bottles and get some food for them. So, he comes back and they switch off. You know, Stanley eats some food. Well, he digs some holes, and then they want more water. Because it's, who knows what time it is, right? They had to wait until nighttime in order to be able to do it, too. So, before Zero can leave the second time to go get water, Stanley's shovel hits something. So, Stanley works out trying to get it out, whatever it is. So, he literally digs to get it out. In the movie, Zero went and got a shovel too. But in this, Zero didn't go get a shovel. So, there was just one shovel. So, Stanley finally got it out, and they pulled it out. It was like a metal briefcase. But in the movie, it was like a chest. So, differences there. Though, did metal briefcase exist 60, 70, 80 years before this took place? I don't know. Apparently in this it did. So, they did it. Yay, they got it. And then that's when the warden speaks. You have boys have been a big help. Fuck their lives. So, the warden, Mr. Sir, and Mr. Potensky are there. Mr. Sir has a gun on him. So, a couple others come over and say what's happened, and then they find out that, yeah, there's a bunch of lizards, red-eyed, black teeth, white-tongued lizards with 11 spots on them. These lizards are highly dangerous, but they haven't bitten Stanley or Zero yet. What is up with that? You know, Hector and Stanley have not been bitten yet by these lizards that are supposed to do it, so they're like, we'll just wait. We'll just wait for them to die. And then at one point they're like, oh, they might not be hungry. Go get it. Says the warden, of course. Miss Walker. You find out her name is Miss Walker. The lizard that was sitting here on Stanley's shoulder jumped after a tarantula that came out. And I was like, no, hungry, huh? Yeah, no, hungry. Okay, hungry. And while this is happening, Zero, who is looking at this suitcase that he has in his hands, goes, Satan! It's like, what? And Lee. And he's like, I don't understand. You know what's going on? So the car comes along, and they're like, you think it's them? It's not. You think Zero's about selling cookies. Zero also asks, is your last name your first name backwards? And I was like, have you been working on that all night? Like, seriously. So, a lawyer, who we learn is Miss Marengo, is coming along. You can't stop me. You should have listened to me yesterday when I came. I got the Attorney General of Texas here, and you're going to release him to me. And the warden was like, I needed proper authentication from the Attorney General. The woman's like, yes, it's a court order. I'm a lawyer. You should have just handed him over to me. And then she made up a bunch of shit when Stanley came out, talking about how, before Stanley came out of the hole, talking about how Stanley went in, stole the suitcase from her room, and took off into the night. And that's why they didn't release him. And then, he was delirium. I couldn't release him because he was delirious and rattling off stuff, ranting and raving. So, yes. So, Stanley got tired of that, so he got out. He helped Zero out, and then she's like, give me that, and I don't want to cause no more trouble, and I'm willing to, drop it. He's like, it's got his name on it. See? Stanley Yelnats. And in big black letters, Stanley Yelnats is there, which is Stanley's last name spelled backwards. Okay? So, the tall man, you say he stole it from your cabin, and Warren's like, it's impossible. She can't say impossible because she never knew, nor did anybody else. But of course, that's what Kissing Kate Barlow stole from Stanley Yelnats. The money and stuff he lost. Now it's back in Stanley Yelnats' hands. So they get back, and the warden, Miss Walker, wants the suitcase to be opened, but Miss Marengo's like, don't open it. Don't do that. And then Attorney General handed Miss Marengo a sheet of paper, says, here you go, you're free to go. You can burn an orange chip, shoot if you want. So Miss Marengo goes to take Stanley away, and Stanley's like, I'm not leaving without Hector. Hector has to come with me. Hector needs to come with me because he's going to be in danger. And the Attorney General, well, we're going to be doing an investigation into all of this. And Stanley wouldn't budge. So the lawyer's like, may I have Hector Zeroni's file? So, yeah. Comes back out after going in, and Mr. Potensi comes back out, and after going in and looking for it, and says, we don't have it. Can't find it. And then he makes a phone call, the Attorney General makes a phone call, and they can't find the information anywhere. It's like there. And at that point, boys come out, Armpit, Magnet, Squid, they all come out, Zigzag even. And of course, X-Ray is sitting in the back, not approaching them. But like, Squid sits there and goes, call my mom and tell her that Alan said he was sorry. So sweet. So, Miss Marengo's like, did you find it? He's like, well, we couldn't find the location. So you have no claim of authority over him, says Marengo. I didn't say that. He's in the computer. We just can't access his records. It's likely fallen through a hole in cyberspace. A hole in cyberspace, Miss Marengo repeated. How interesting. When is his release date? I don't know. How long has he been here? Like I said, we can't. So what are you planning to do with him? Keep him confined indefinitely without justification while you go crawling through black holes in cyberspace? He was obviously incarcerated for a reason. Oh. And what reason was that? Come on, Hector. You're coming with me, says the lawyer. Woo, woo. Woo, 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 woo. Yay! So Hector and Stanley gets to leave. While they're driving along with the air conditioning cranked up and everything, she spills out this unnamed can of something that happened. His father had actually done it. Found a cure to make feet not stink. Of course, we get this one last flashback of someone coming for onion juice, which was what? Hector had been drinking. The stuff he called sploosh was actually old onion juice, okay? And these people were asking for the onion juice so that way they could not be, because they wanted to go out hunting for rattlesnakes, but they didn't want to get bit by the lizards. He says, lizards don't like onion blood. And that's why they never attacked. It was because they ate so many fucking onions for days. Days. The lizards didn't want anything to do with their smelly asses. Nerd. Did Miss Rango. So, while they were driving away, a drop of rain fell into the empty lake. So now there's rain there. So, then it gets to this, where it says, the reader might find it interesting, however, that Stanley's father invented his cure for foot odor the day after the great-great-grandson of Elia Yelnats carried the great-great-great-grandson of Madame Zeroni up the mountain. So, Miss Walker, Camp Greenlight was closed. Miss Walker had to sell the land, and then it was bought by some organization that would make it into a Girl Scout camp. And they kept saying, it's not a Girl Scout here. It's not a Girl Scout camp here. This is Camp Greenlight, where you boys will do hard work by digging holes every single day. And then it gets bought by a national organization that's going to make it into a Girl Scout camp. Okay, so, then it leaves you with this last thing where, after legal, taxes, fees, and stuff like that, Stanley and Zero each received a little less than $1 million each from a bunch of bonds, stock certificates, deeds of trust, promissory notes, which, that's a lot of money. So, Stanley was able to buy his family a home with a laboratory in the basement for his dad, and Hector was able to hire a team of private investigators to go find his fucking mother. Because, like, hello. And then it comes up with a commercial for Sploosh, which gets rid of stinky feet, that Clyde Livingston sat there and did an ad for. And at the very end of it all, Hector is sitting with his mother, who is fluffing up his hair. So, yay! Singing, half humming, the song that her grandmother used to sing to her. If only the moon speaks no reply, reflecting the sun and all that's gone by. Be strong, my weary wolf, turn around boldly, fly high, my baby bird, my angel, my only. So, yay! My favorite character in this was Hector, because he didn't like answering questions, but that's because he was freaking abandoned at a very young age. Well, maybe not abandoned, but maybe his mother came back and never found him, or maybe she went to the wrong one and been searching for him the whole time. We don't really know necessarily all those stories about how that happened, but poor Hector. All he wanted to do was learn. All he wanted to do was just live. All he wanted was fucking shoes on his fucking feet, like normal people. He was homeless. Now he has his own home with his mother, and he's gonna live happily ever after, being best friends with Stanley Yelnats. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My most disliked character. You know, from watching the movie and reading this book, it'd have to be Mr. Potensky. He acted all caring and kind. He wanted to fucking kill Hector. Like, what kind of fucking bad man are you? You act all kind and you're just twisted and evil? At least we know the warden was evil. At least we know Mr. Sir was evil. But you, who pretended to be kind and caring and concerned, was like, oh yeah, we can just pretend Hector never existed, and then if he ever comes back, we'll just bury his body and nobody will ever know. Got a lot of holes. Punch Podensky! You need to die! Anyways, what stood out as memorable? Well, if that holes actually do teach people lessons, Cat, nobody's interested in you. Holes taught Stanley lessons. Holes taught him a lot of things. Digging those holes, which also was good for his weight, because he lost weight digging holes out in the sun all day for weeks, taught him lessons. It taught him things. And my cat is really in the way of my camera. I apologize. So, yes, it was a lesson, and that stood out as something whole and hearty, because when he was up on that mountain with Hector and just happy, he was happy because he had things. I had a friend, he had his life, and he was losing weight, and he was doing so much better than what he was before. And he was really glad that he actually got to go to this camp and got to meet Hector and got to be friends with Hector and got to teach Hector how to read. Because I mean, like, bitch, you taught him good. Now, I don't really have a favorite past. My cat is like doing the book thing. Okay. But I guess it would really be this. This would be my favorite thing. A woman sitting in the chair behind Hector was absent-mindedly fluffing his hair with her fingers. She wasn't very old, but her skin had a withered look to it, almost like leather. Her eyes seemed weary, as if she'd seen too many things in her life that she didn't want to see. And when she smiled, her mouth seemed too big for her face. Such a heart-rending thing to show about his mother. And of course, my favorite quote is your last name your first name spelled backwards? When Hector figures out how to sound out words all by himself after only a few lessons. Da, 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 da. That's that. That's what that is. Okay, what else about the end of the book? It's wholesome. It's sweet. It's wonderful. Justice for the boys. Justice, justice, justice. That's what they get. Justice. Okay. So what book did it remind me of? A book where people got justice in a way that was lovely and beautiful and just kiss all? I don't know. No, really, I don't. I mean, this is a standalone, but I still don't know. This book, as you know, is a standalone. I mean, it has a movie, but it's stand the fuck alone, okay? It stands tall all on its own. So, I'm pretty sure I had to double check this because, you know, things happen. I did give it a 3.25 because I liked the movie better, to be honest. Even though there was a lot less, well, there wasn't really more detail because this book was really well done in the movie. But the things in the movie made it seem more dire in some situations. And, I mean, the actor who played Stanley did a really awesome job. And so then the person played Hector. I mean, and the warden, it was just, I like it, but I'm not going to keep this book. What I'm going to do is that, I'm still going to watch the movie, obviously, whenever I feel like watching the movie Holes. Like, right after this, I'm going to watch Holes and enjoy it. But I figure somebody else needs to have this, and I'm going to get this in a free little library because I know that somebody else needs to read this book and enjoy it, because it is a John Newbery Medal Award winning, okay, for American, and it was for the most distinguished contribution to American literature for children. Though I don't know how this isn't banned for the one word in it, for the N word. Basically, it said one time, okay, one time to describe a black man, and that's literally the only time it ever happens, okay? And I'm surprised it's not banned in school libraries and stuff like that. But it is a really good story about learning about yourself, finding yourself, and evolving. And, I don't know, it's just heartfelt, and it's got its moments, okay? It's obviously contributed to American literature for children. And it's wholesome, okay? So, if you guys think I deserve a like, comment, or a lovely subscription, why don't you go ahead and drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.